You're right there, in your fullest glory. One of the fastest and most painless ways to start your sketchbook is to actually break that unbreakable, daunting white page. I tried out this paint scraping technique, which all you do is you grab your tubes of acrylic paint, you pop dots at the top of the page, and then you grab an old useless plastic card. Could be a credit card, could be any other loyalty card, and all you do is you put the card at the top and you pull down the page. And you do that as many times as you need or want. You can basically redo the scrape as many times as you like. However, beware that the colors can muddy up a bit by, I don't know, the third time you do it. A bit like this, or like this. Sometimes it looks decent, sometimes depends on your preference. I actually prefer the one scrape version, so I would recommend you just scrape once and just leave it. When I find myself stuck for any more ideas, I don't have inspiration, then I find that the best course of action is to either go back to basics or draw something that is incredibly obvious. When it comes to going back to basics, grab your palette, whether that be acrylic paints, watercolors, or whatever you like to use, and simply learn your palette. Draw a simple grid that matches the number of colors that you have, and then just paint each square or rectangle or triangle, whatever type of grid you've drawn. Just color each space in a different color from your palette. This exercise is really simple and it may seem pointless, but putting down the plain color on the page and waiting for it to dry will tell you how much the color changes. It will tell you how bold the color is. It's about knowing the type of paint you're using and how the specific brand actually looks on different surfaces, in this case paper. Now, we're not sponsored by anybody here, but you can do this sort of exercise for any brand of paint that you have. So if you like using two different brands of paint or different actually types of paint, then do this exercise when you first get them and write down the color and the brand and maybe the series as well, so you can go back and refer to these, let's call them, I don't know, cue cards, cheat cards, basically informational cards to know which type of paint you need. I've actually grown quite fond of trying out this next one. It is essentially practicing textures or different patterns and see basically how to bring a 3D object or being to life on paper. Now, I enjoy practicing my textures within circles. I just think the shape is more flowing and less restrictive. But if you like, you can draw a square or triangle or whatever shape you like, or you can just do it floating on the page anywhere without any confines. But if you're into circles yourself, then just grab something circular. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It doesn't even have to be a perfect circle, but just mark out a bunch of circles on your page and then just filling them with the most random textures you can think of. If you're looking for inspiration, just look around and try to like focus on a very specific detail on, let's say, your skin or your pen or your desk, and just try and recreate that little tiny, maybe 1 centimeter long of texture that you're looking at down in your circle and just play around with it. Really, just go nuts. Go nuts. I mean, what the hell is this? I don't even know what that is. I just made it up. Like, waves. I don't know, it reminds me of fungi. Growing fungi. I know, I'm charming. That one's so effective. That's not even texture. Well, it is texture, but basically it's a seam. It's like a zoomed in seam. It's really effective, especially in the circle. It really makes me... Now, I've actually seen a lot of artists suggest this next one, but I'm gonna support them in it because I actually really like this idea. And it is to basically just draw your favorite tools down on your first page. Again, it's like learning your palette, it's like learning your tools. And really, when I tried it, I actually felt quite refreshed. It was quite easy to draw my tools. They were so familiar, and I didn't have to basically be overly posh about it. I didn't have to go over realistic. I actually really like that sort of well, actually sketch style. It's a bit more like flaky. The paint and the lines are not straight. The paint's flying out the lines. Obviously within consideration. But yeah, it was kind of a funky way to start a sketchbook. And what I found quite nice is because I was drawing them to size, I could just put the pencil, the pen, etc. Down and sort of like mark out its proportions, either by dots, or sometimes I try to do the whole outline, but that usually didn't work out too well because I can't actually match the outline because they're round. But usually just putting dots down to sort of give me an idea of the proportions. It just it sped the process up. So if you don't have a lot of time to basically do a sketch, doing something like this is actually can actually spur you on and get you started instead of delaying because you don't have time. Yeah, and then just labeling them for the fun of it. I think labeling them actually made it look even cooler. It seemed that there was a lot of white space in between without it, so I actually quite liked labeling them as well. I mean, I'm a sucker for labels. I like labeling. I should get a label maker. I need to label my silicone. And really, when we're struggling to start, I think actually the best course of action to break through that doze is to just draw the most obvious things. Yes, your tools is one, but just draw a calendar, like pick, what month is it, or pick your favorite month or whatever, and just write out the dates and then design around that month. If it's autumn, draw something autumny. If it's summer, draw summery, etc. And basically that's just simple and obvious, and it's just a way to get you into your sketchbook. After that, do whatever. Another one of my favorite ideas that goes along with being obvious and predictable is to draw where you are. So if you are in your studio or living room, do that. If you're outside and you have your painting stuff or drawing stuff, then do that. Or if you just think, well, where I am is not really that inspirational, I don't really want to draw that, then just grab one of your favorite pictures or something of a place where you were and just recreate that. But make it simple, make it snappy. It's like either draw where you are or like the first picture that you remember that you really liked, and just grab that and draw it. I mean, that's what I did. I picked a picture because my room was really messy when I thought of this idea, and it was just gonna take me a long time to draw all of that clutter. So I just picked a random image of my recent travels. There you go. And I went quite crazy with it, or I went really saturated. I experimented a bit, and this is just a first page idea. Yeah, so you don't have to go really detailed, you don't have to go really realistic. But yeah, I quite like it. It has very little light orientation. So when I redo this, because I kind of want to do, and I want to try and do it more realistic, because it's just a challenge. It actually proved a very, very difficult picture to recreate. Yeah, so yeah. Just draw where you are. Maybe we should do a challenge to draw while you're actually in a car. Not driving, but you're the passenger. Though, that kind of difficult, because I do get motion sickness. Might have to defeat that before I do that challenge. Another thing you can do is draw yourself. First page, stick on the artist's face on there. Again, you can use a mirror, you can use a picture, you can use anything you like, you can do it in any style you like. Make your mark on it, plaster yourself on the paper mache, so just do something fun. It doesn't matter. You're right there, in your fullest glory. Now, if you are really feeling stuck for ideas and just the idea of that first page is really quite petrifying, then just leave it blank, move on with your life, and pick the next page or a random page. It doesn't matter. Just forget it. Move on. Just treat the pages in your sketchbook like a loose piece of paper. Unless you want to, progress characters or progress a story, it's just paper. If you just want to practice anything in it, why should that first page matter? I have actually prepared this sort of a guide booklet thing for you, and it's completely free, available through the link down below that will take you to my website. There's a bunch more ideas that can help you start your sketchbook or just simply start doing some art again. So just grab that, it's completely free, and let me know what you think of it, because I really want to know. I really want to know if it helped you, or if you think that actually do a second volume, improving on the first. So leave a comment down below if you have any more ideas of how to basically start your sketchbook and break through creative blocks, or whether you liked any of the ideas in this video. And if you're interested in joining me on my artist journey as I make a lot of mess and basically try and build myself as an artist in the industry, then please do subscribe and press that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me.